A better way to break up. As unique and individual as every relationship may be, there are sound and effective rules of disengagement and strategies that lead us to new chapters while minimizing hurt and harm in a breakup. Let's think about today our breakups in the past and also how relationships can be healthier. Let's explore a kinder way to move forward at the end of a relationship or address relationships with more kindness during a relationship when we go up and down and have challenges with them. The decision to end a relationship is more often than not a very difficult one. And if you reflect back to other relationships in your past, ending a relationship, whether it's a friendship or an intimate one, is often fraught with disappointment, a sense of failure, resentment, anger, and loss. No wonder ending things and breaking up is so hard to do. And when we're in pain and dealing with loss and uncertainty, it's really hard to do it well. Of course, every relationship story is unique. Whatever made a relationship work or is making it fall apart, the way forward does not need to cause more pain. And we can bring some pause and reflecting in our lives to find ways to manage our emotions well so we don't spill over onto others in pain. In some cases where there is a history of physical or emotional abuse, safety and the removal of harm is the only way forward. In such cases as this, there's sometimes little ways of choice when it comes to opportunities to choose kindness over personal safety and security. We need to set boundaries and we need to do them fast. But in majority of our breakup situations or ending of relationships, where a relationship is no longer working well or serving our needs despite our efforts, we can choose a kinder, more compassionate way forward, one that minimizes hurt and harm, frees us from remaining stuck in pain, and leaves both parties whole and able to move on. The golden rules of breaking up or ending things are about being loving and compassionate to yourself and others. Breakups are challenging and difficult, and when the going gets tough, we can become tough to deal with, quick to anger, blame, and shame. Sometimes our fears get the better part of us, and we act in ways that we're even surprised of ourselves. Not because we're those type of people that have a lot of anger and vengeful feelings, but because we're scared. When you're in pain, you spill over into others. Golden breakup rule number 1 is to treat others as you would like to be treated. Golden breakup rule number 2, behave impeccably at your highest and best at every stage of a breakup. And golden rule number 3, make your faith in your ability to handle whatever comes your way, including the emotional roller coaster at the end of a relationship or when somebody gets defensive, bigger than your fears. It is important for you to have faith in yourself and believe that you can handle whatever comes your way versus fearing that you can't handle things well, afraid to be alone, and will struggle with the challenges of a breakup. Many times we stay or we keep up dynamics that are unhealthy with friendships even because we're afraid of the aftermath or the fallout. But that's not a reason to stay in relationship dynamics that don't serve your highest and best. Before breaking up, relationships are vulnerable entities. Sometimes even when we give a relationship our best, the time and effort that we've put in, we sometimes feel like we don't want to waste it. However, you have to realize that sometimes you come together and you're both at the same place, but that by the time you leave each other or are ending a relationship, you may have grown apart or things have changed or you're starting to realize people are choosing behaviors that don't help you be a better partner to them. Try to save your relationship so that you don't have regrets, because I do agree, we invest time and energy into friendships and relationships. If in the process of trying to keep a relationship together, there's more struggles and obstacles and frustration, then it's apparent that this is not possible, and maybe that you're just in a place of transition, and letting go of this person is a way for you to be your highest and best and move forward. Sometimes you have to see people come and go in our lives as we transition and grow. Sometimes relationships that were working once just don't really work as well anymore. And so you can move forward and minimize self-doubt and resentment. Some of this is about accepting people, accepting also situations, Changes happen in life, and some people stay with us because they still grow with us. And other times, you're meant to evolve and grow differently. And so those people that are around are just not meant to stay. During any breakup, at the end of a relationship, we can find ourselves flooded with negative emotions, disappointment, blame, shame, a sense of failure, and fear of an uncertain future. For example, we could feel deeply disrespected or humiliated if our former partner has moved on to a new partner, or friends just end up moving on, making new friends. We struggle with the loss sometimes, and people move past us. Don't judge this, as you don't really know what they're feeling on the inside. However, each and every one of us have a different area of growth, pain, loss, process, and growth. We can feel shamed and blamed by our partner, and we might even resent our choice to end relationships. Then you might want to explore with a therapist, explore dynamics of why you chose what you did and what's in your highest and best. Sometimes self-doubt is just you wondering if you'll be able to move on. Whatever negative emotions arise, it is important to remember that people, through their choices and actions and reactions, show us who they are, but not showing us who we are. We need to pause and reflect and go inward to see who we are. Why are we behaving the way we're doing? And what are we afraid of? What are we doubtful for? And what visions do we have about our future? You can envision anything for your future. As the future has not happened, it's uncertain. So it can be 50% good or it can be 50% difficult and challenging. Why not invest in imagining a future that you want to manifest versus one that you're afraid of? Even when you're feeling hurt, remember, instead of reacting in negative ways, that you can treat your partner the way you want to be treated, just as behaving in your highest and best while in the final weeks of ending something would be in your best interests. While dealing with the fallout of a breakout, it is important to treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Relationships are hard, emotions are difficult and challenging. Allow yourself to feel bad, somewhat sorry for yourself, and a little afraid. It's human, it's normal. But watch out for negative self-talk, self-blame, self-doubt, or prolonged low moods and negative forecasting about your future. Take a break when you're feeling emotionally drained. Remember that you're not alone, and reach out to friends for companionship or consolidation as you are grieving losses of what you signed up for, of what you thought the relationship was going to be. And many times when you're struggling with fears or guilt or shame or self-dislike and failures, it's important to seek professional help. Sometimes those downward spirals are too difficult to get out of. Reflect back to friendships and relationships that you have ended in the past or have ended in the past. How did you go through them? What did you go through? What emotions came up? Did you handle it with dignity and respect for yourself and others? Or were you somebody who got highly emotional, irrational, catastrophizing, and not being in favor of taking care of yourself through a breakup? Many times we can abuse our bodies, alcohol, drugs, try to numb, instead of face what is in front of us and move forward. Many times once a relationship has ended, it is important to let it go. But many times we can't handle our emotions on the inside or the anxiety that comes with change. And so we oftentimes go back and forth and wobble, texting, calling, and trying to figure out if we can make it work because we're just not handling the emotions that come up with guilt, shame, anxiety, and sadness. The story of most relationships, including relationships and friendships that have ended, is that we have good times with these people. We have shared values at one point, and at that time things were good. But we all evolve and change, and sometimes dynamics change because we outgrow one another, and a level of comfort with that partner shifts. As we change, remember you have to allow yourself to face the reality of what's going on. You need to treat you and your former partner as you want them to treat you, with respect and compassion, but it is important to live your truth. Speak up and acknowledge if something is changing within you and you're not happy. Because when you're in pain, you spill over onto others. No matter how good the person is, If you don't feel aligned anymore, it is important to acknowledge that. Remember, there was good in this relationship, and the choice to break up is just from challenges or misalignment between the two of you. Ending or limiting contact with your former partner or friend allows you to both move on. Setting boundaries and keeping them around is not always the best thing, so sometimes you do just have to take a step back and allow each other the space to heal, move forward. While backsliding into contact with a former partner or friend can be tempting because it feels familiar, it might feel comfortable in the moment, but over time, it kind of like derails us from the genuine work and effort we've done to move forward, have new friends and new people in our lives, and allow ourselves to live our truth. This then results in more prolonging hurt and harm to both parties. Let's take a mindful moment right now and reflect on past relationships, partnerships, as well as friendships, and the ones that have come and go. How did you end them? How did you let them go, even if somebody ended it with you? Were you in your highest and best? Each and every one of us want to feel good about ourselves, and we don't want to end relationships on a negative note. However, in those times of ending or feeling overwhelmed, we get highly emotional, and sometimes our best version of ourselves are not out. You ending a relationship is to live your higher and best version of your life. And so it's important to pause and reflect how you can make this unhealthy, difficult, challenging, phase of your life a little bit more comfortable. And instead of avoiding, numbing, and sacrificing yourself, it's about living your truth. If something feels aligned of, I need to end something to move forward, you got to give it life. You got to trust yourself and let yourself guide where you feel best. It's not about what other people think of you. It's about how you think of yourself. Realize that you are the best navigator of your life, as you're the common denominator in your life. You know why, how, and what you really feel. Giving it life is important. Even if the consequences are breakups, leaving people behind, and moving past them. Let's take a mindful moment right now to reflect on our past, how we've handled breakups, and what we can do differently the next time a friendship or a relationship is ending. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and breathe out. Reflect on your relationships, your emotions, what's gone well, what's gone challenging, and how we can be better versions of ourselves today when such situations come up again. As I bring you back from this mindful moment, the golden rules of breaking up. Treat others as you would like others to treat you. This can be challenging during a breakup, but treating your former partner or friend with respect and compassion will leave you feeling healthy and whole. Behave impeccably. Make every effort to make your relationships work, but when all efforts fail, be on your best behavior as you transition out of your relationship, no matter how challenging or whatever the defensiveness on the other end is. When you behave impeccably at your highest and best, you can move on without regrets and self-doubt. Make your faith in yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way bigger than your fears of what lies ahead as you begin a new chapter of your life, making new friends, partners, and moving on.